We photograph galaxies billions of light years away. We've even sent robots to Saturn's moons. But here's something that'll mess with your head. We've only explored 5% of our own ocean. 5%. That means 95% of Earth's largest habitat is completely unknown, unmapped, unseen. And the deeper you go, the weirder it gets. At 200 meters down, sunlight vanishes completely. You're in what scientists call the midnight zone, total darkness stretching for miles. No light has touched this place since the ocean formed. And yet, life thrives there. Not just surviving, thriving, creating its own light, adapting to pressures that would crush you instantly. And I realized something. The ocean isn't just teaching us marine biology. It's teaching us about ourselves, about the unexplored depths we all carry, about finding light when everything goes dark. I'm going to share 10 lessons from the deep ocean that'll change how you see your darkness, your depths, and your ability to create light where none exists. And lesson number 7, that one's going to hit different. Let's dive in. Lesson 1, 95% of you is unexplored. If 95% of the ocean is unexplored, how much of yourself have you actually seen? Most people spend their entire lives on the surface, the shallow water, the parts that are safe, acceptable, easy to explain. But beneath that, there's an entire world you've never visited. And I get it. The surface is safe. It's where the light is, where everyone else lives. But it's also where you stay small, where you stay limited to the 5% that's already been explored. What if the most interesting parts of you, the most powerful parts, are down there? In the 95% you've been too afraid to visit, the ocean didn't need humans to validate its depths. It's been deep for millions of years, whether we acknowledged it or not. You don't need permission to explore yours either. You just need to stop pretending the surface is all there is. But here's where it gets interesting. Lesson 2, darkness is not emptiness. At 200 meters, you hit the midnight zone, total darkness. When scientists first studied the deep ocean, they called it the azoic zone, the lifeless zone. They assumed darkness meant emptiness. Absence of light meant absence of life. They were completely wrong. The midnight zone is packed with life, more species than we can count. Entire ecosystems operating in total darkness. The darkness wasn't empty. It was full, alive, complex. It just didn't look like what they expected. Maybe that's true for you too. Those dark periods, the depression, the grief, the loneliness, maybe those weren't empty. Maybe something was forming down there. Something was adapting. You thought you were in a void, but maybe you were in the midnight zone. And maybe the most interesting parts of who you are now were formed in that darkness. Seeds grow in darkness. Roots form in darkness. Some parts of you can only develop when the light goes out. Stop treating dark periods like failures. Start treating them like the deep ocean, mysterious, uncomfortable, but never empty. And that leads us to the most powerful discovery. Lesson 3. You can create your own light. Here's where it gets beautiful. In the deep ocean where no sunlight reaches, creatures make their own light. It's called bioluminescence. Jellyfish that glow blue, anglerfish with light bulbs on their heads, squid that pulse with light. They became their own suns. They didn't wait for light to come from above. They didn't sit in darkness, hoping the sun would find them. They adapted. They evolved. They became the light they needed. You've been waiting for someone to see you, waiting for circumstances to improve, waiting for the right moment to illuminate your life. But what if you're built like a bioluminescent jellyfish? What if you can glow from within? This isn't toxic positivity. In the deepest parts of the ocean, creatures don't have the luxury of waiting. They make light. And when you're in your midnight zone, when everything goes dark, that's when you discover you can glow. Not because you're special, because you have to. Because survival at depth means becoming luminescent, becoming your own source. But it's not just about light. It's about what happens under pressure. Lesson 4. Pressure transforms instead of crushing. The Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean, has pressure over 1,000 times atmospheric pressure. That's 15,750 pounds per square inch. A regular submarine would crumple instantly, yet life exists there. Fish with soft bodies, shrimp, creatures that adapted to pressure that would kill anything from the surface. They're not stronger than the pressure. They became the pressure. Their bodies are built for it. What would crush you doesn't crush them because they transformed. You're under pressure right now. I know you are. Responsibilities, expectations, everything you're holding together. It feels crushing, like you can't breathe. But what if you're not collapsing? What if you're adapting? What if your mind and soul are learning to exist at depth? The pressure isn't destroying you. It's transforming you into something that can survive what surface dwellers never could. Deep-sea creatures didn't avoid pressure. They learned to live with it, in it, as it. You're not breaking. You're becoming something built for depth. And the transformation gets even stranger. Lesson 5. The deeper you go, the stranger you become. Let me describe some deep-sea creatures. The barrel-eye fish has a transparent head with tubular eyes that look up through its own skull. The gulper eel has a mouth so huge it swallows prey larger than itself. The vampire squid turns itself inside out when threatened. These creatures don't look like anything from the surface. They're bizarre, alien, unsettling, beautiful in an uncomfortable way. Because the deeper you go, the less you can afford to look normal. Surface rules don't apply at depth. What matters is survival, adaptation, function. You've been trying to stay surface acceptable. Try and look normal, act normal, be digestible to people who only know shallow water. But the deeper you go into yourself, the stranger you're going to become, the less you'll resemble who you used to be. And that's not a problem. That's proof you're actually diving. You're adapting to your own depth. You're becoming what you need to be to survive where you actually live, not where other people think you should live. If this resonated with you, do me a favor, hit that like button. It actually helps more people find this message. Drop a comment and tell me which lesson hit you hardest.